Mr. Secretary, if I could, because I was watching your comments, and I think to Senator Bennett, you said you were going to then go and kind of listen and travel around to see how these new regulations, what impact these are going to have, or these have had. And I think this is just one of the example of why people in the West are concerned, because the regulations are already in place. These regulations are impacting the red, white, and blue jobs that have powered our country and are such good jobs in our state. So it just seems that maybe we could have had this discussion before the regulations went in place, and I would encourage you and invite you to Pinedale, Rock Springs, Casper, Wyoming, to see the specifics of the impacts of these, and I'd be happy to go with you to those locations. But it just struck me that that it might have been a better listen first and then implement, rather than implement and then see what the impacts are going to be of the administration's positions. And so I don't know if you'd like to comment on that, Mr. Secretary.
Can we give the Secretary the last word?
Yes.
All right, Mr. Secretary.
Well, you know, we frankly did make changes from the last administration because, and we've had this conversation before, Senator Barrasso, but it seemed to us that we could do a much better job in terms of managing our public lands by being proactive relative to giving direction to where we ought to be leasing for oil and gas, and also providing certainty that avoids then the litigation that now is coming with about 48% of the leases that were issued in the last year. And so that's what we've been searching for, and have engaged many out in the West, our employees as well as the public, on how we move forward. May not be a perfect place where we landed, and some of our efforts are still very much in draft form, and so we look forward at trying to get to a place where there can be agreement. Interestingly, with the IPAM's organization yesterday, they had a number of different leases and acreages that they were concerned about. Some of them may not be problematical. Some of them may be problematical, and there'll be issues that we can't really resolve and can't move forward with. But what I've asked them to do is to put together specifics, because if I know what the specifics are in the Rocky Mountain West where they operate, I can have Assistant Secretary Wilma Lewis and Bob Abbey move forward and determine which ones we might be able to move on and which ones we can't. And so I always think there's, good things that can come from dialogue, and I think your suggestion that we have these listening sessions is a very important one.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary. Thank you, Madam Chairman.
Thank you, Mr. Secretary.